welcome to Long Story Long. I'm your host, Lisa Curry. Today's guest is the hilarious Nicole Conlan. Nicole is a recent Peabody Award winner, and she was a staff writer on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. She's super funny and a good friend of mine, and I think you're really going to love this conversation. Here you go.
Hey, Nicole, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. Thank you. It's so good to see you. You're in Colorado right now?
Yeah, we're still in Colorado, and we'll end up on one of the coasts like in the fall, but until we know where we're moving, we were like, I guess we'll just stay here.
Stay there, have some oxygen. It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's so nice. Wait, are mushrooms legal there yet? Sorry, that's such a weird question.
Mushrooms are legal. Well, I don't know if they're technically legal or decriminalized, but everyone's doing them either way.
Whatever it is, I'm on my way. Wait, did you grow up in Colorado?
Yes, where I actually Jordan and I are living in an apartment like 5 minutes away from the house that I grew up in, which is where my parents live, which is great to be so close to them, but also to be able to get away from them.
Yeah, so you guys are close?
Yeah. I'm very close with my family. And it's been nice also because I have a big dog who you've met, and she can
Love your dog.
She's wonderful. But she also needs more space than this one-bedroom apartment can accommodate sometimes, so I can just drive her up there and throw her in the backyard, and then she's fine for a while.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I spent the last 6 months mostly in Indiana, and now I'm like, why did I come back here?
Yeah. Has the biz started back up there yet?
You know what? I can't tell. Like, I have a couple of spots, but I'm like, I thought I was going to come back and like do a ton of spots, and everyone's like, yeah, nothing exists anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess weird. So wait, you grew up in Colorado, and then from there, wait, first of all, I want to back it up. Did you know when you were a kid that you wanted to be a comedian and a writer?
Yes, although I don't think it occurred to me that like is a job that people have until I was like in college or so. Like I would always like watch TV and movies, and like the 2000, like the early aughts era of like Comedy Central half hours were like very formative comedically for me because they were just on when I was home from school. And
were there any that you stuck out?
Jackie Cation's I remember in particular. Obviously Mitch Hedberg's. I think we all like kind of have that verbatim memorized.
Yeah.
Maria Bamford had one that was amazing. Wanda Sykes had, I think, a half hour and a special out at the same time around then. I might be mixing up my timeline a little bit, but she had a really good one. A bunch. Which is wild because now I've been on shows with some of those people, which I think 10-year-old Nicole would think was very cool. Yeah, I've been on many. Yeah, I actually opened for him recently. But so I would watch all that stuff, and in my head I would always be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. But I didn't put together like the steps between like me watching like in our spare bedroom on TV and then like how to get there as an adult. So I don't think it was like a career that I planned for, just a thing that was like, that is a thing I'll do. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. I love it. So did you go to college after high school?
I went to NYU, which was sort of a fluke. My like guidance counselor in high school talked me into going, and I think it's like good that I went there. I moved to New York in a college setting when everything was like very structured for me, because I think that city would have eaten me alive if I didn't have college. I was very like emotionally immature when I moved there, and pretty cocky and full of myself, and had to get. Just this story of this podcast is just going to be about me like getting knocked down a few pegs every year or so until now I'm at the point where sort of my ego matches my ability level, I think.
Sure.
But yeah, I went to NYU, and that's like where I started doing comedy more seriously. I was on the improv team at NYU, and I started taking UCB classes and stuff. And then I was there for like 10 years. And then I briefly moved to LA.
For 10 years?
Yeah, I was at NYU for 10 years. I was a super duper senior. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and I was there for a few years. And then when I got hired at Colbert, I moved back to New York. And then, like, immediately the pandemic happened. And I was in LA. And then after Jordan's lease was up in LA, we just moved back to Denver because it was like, nothing's open. He's also from Denver. So we were like, we'll go be with our families.
Yeah.
And now we're caught up to the present.
And that's everything. Thanks for listening, everyone.
I'm efficient. I'm an efficient podcast guest.
Did you go to NYU for the express purpose of pursuing a career in entertainment?
Sort of. I always thought I was going to go to college to study history. which in retrospect I would have not been good at. But because I did like drama and stuff in high school, my guidance counselor was like, you gotta audition for NYU. And I was like, whatever, I don't want to go, but I will. And then I got in, and then for boring reasons that just like ended up making the most sense. So I went to theater school there for my freshman year, and I was like, again, just like too emotionally immature for the kind of like scene work and, the expressiveness that one needs to succeed at a serious art.
Oh, were you too serious, or?
I was not serious. I was like goofing around too much, and I also just like didn't have a very hard life growing up, so I didn't have like a wealth of trauma to draw from that I felt like I was being asked to do sometimes. So I just didn't have the emotional depth, I think, to pull it off. And so I switched to another program where I just kind of fucked around for the remaining 3 years, and then didn't really start like pursuing this in any kind of organized or serious way until after I graduated.
Yeah. And it's funny you say in any kind of organized way, because I recently had some younger comics ask me, like, how do you organize like your jokes and like all of these things? I was like, I don't. And I just opened up my notebook and I was like, this is a mess. There's Post-it notes in here. There's receipts that have notes on them. I don't know what's going on. My brain is like some old garage that people have just been dumping things into, like, I
mean, you're very funny, so clearly it works. When I was like a few years out from college, I was like, okay, I'm screwing up a lot. I got to get my life together, so I'm going to be very organized. And I don't know what switch flipped in my brain, but it did. I was working at Sports Illustrated at the time, and it was very 9 to 5. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wake up at, I don't know why I had this number in my head, but I was like 5 a.m. Successful people wake up at 5 a.m. every day. So I woke up at 5 and I would go to the gym, and then I'd go to my office and I would write scripts for an hour, and then I would work all day, and then I would go do mics at night. And I did that for like a year or 2 years. And it's wild how much I did not get better in those 2 years. And I was putting in so many hours, and at like by 2016 I was exactly as good as I was in 2014, and it just like did
hilarious.
Not pay off at all.
Do you think it was because, I mean, like 5 a.m. is a really early time to start, especially for a comic. Yeah. I mean, like, I get up at 7 and people look at me like I have 3 heads. They're like, you get up at 7 a.m.? And I'm like, yeah, I don't get wasted after shows. I do my spot and I come home and I fucking go to sleep, Yeah. But, like, comedy, like, stand-up is such a late night thing. I can't, it makes sense that your own assessment is that you didn't get any better, because it's like, when the fuck are you listening to your set and rewriting things? Like, because it sounds like you're just going.
I just didn't know how to do and I still don't. Like, I would say that of all of the kinds of comedy I have ever done in my life, I'm actually not that good at stand-up. I think it's just never something I've been able to, like, be disciplined with in that way. But I think I just never got a good sense of, like, okay, I'm listening to my set. I listened to it. Now what? So I don't know, like, it's tough for me to rewrite jokes that way, in the same way that I would like rewrite a sketch, where I eventually got to the point where I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to transcribe all of my sets, because I think I need to see it in front of me. And that really helped, but that's also like a lot of work, and it sucks having to listen to yourself and pause every sentence to like type it up.
That's too much.
But that was the only time that I really consistently got better, so I should probably like go back and keep doing it. I'm just I'm lazy, and I haven't done a show that's not on Zoom for a year, so I'm less motivated to do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that what changed for me with writing my stand-up, and I don't know if this helps at all.
Anything will help.
I think my stand-up got better
than I am now.
I feel like I'm really good at like long form comedic monologues. Like whenever I submit for a show 600 times, like last week tonight or something like that, I'm like, that's where I do best, is like the longer form thing. So when I started thinking of my stand-up set in the same way and trying to write it in the same way, not really the same cadence, but with the same amount of deliberation and like whatever. I think that really helped me.
I think that's probably a good way of thinking about it. And now I just, was writing that for 2 years, and I'm like, I got to do more of it for me. I don't want to do that.
For free for now?
Yeah, for free.
No,
but yeah, you are right. That's what I should be doing, especially because like if I could pick any comic in the universe to be, it would be for sure Eddie Izzard, who does the most dense, like researched comedy.
Incredible.
Which, by the way, listeners at home, I don't think I am anything like Eddie Izzard. Just so there's no mistaking.
Just listeners at home,
she's
in
much
the chat,
better than me.
She did say, "I am just like Eddie Izzard." So that was in the chat offline.
But like if I could like have my dream of dreams, it would be that, and I'm just like so not doing the level of work that would require.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's also like, I think that it's hard when you're so good at other types of writing, so that feeds you in a way. And so some people like, yeah, of course you're going to be the best stand-up if that's all you fucking do. Like, you know what I mean? Like Chris Rock isn't also a staff writer on something right now. He's like, I'm just going to do stand-up. And I'm so envious of that. Or like Taylor Tomlinson, like she moved forward so quickly, and it's like, oh yeah, because that's her whole focus. Because she's not like, okay, well now I got to pump the brakes on this and work on this packet.
Right.
For a shot at a job out of like 6,000 people applying or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I don't think my round of packets, I think the round of people who submitted to Colbert after me, I think it was literally something like 2,000 packets that they had to read, which is a lot. Wild.
It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
So wait, you were in New York for 10 years, and you said you didn't start stand-up till like after college?
Yeah, I started probably 2014, something like that. Everybody always posts like, this is my 10-year anniversary. This is the first time I did a mic. I was like, did you guys write it down? I did not.
Me neither.
I think no idea what
something's wrong with them. It's like, you marked that down as a day in your life?
Yeah, I can sort of pinpoint like a general time when it happened, mostly because I remember like how long my hair was and what outfits I owned at the time, and I can kind of get a vague estimate, but somewhere around like mid 2014, I think is what I remember.
Yeah, you're still new. I mean, I'm not much farther along. I started in 2008, so it's like you still have time.
Yeah, it's in retrospect, it's like I lived in New York, like in a very structured environment where I could go out to mics every night if I wanted to when I was in fucking college for 4 years, and it just for whatever reason never occurred to me to do that. So I just like got started a little later.
Yeah, I feel you. It never occurred to me that you could do any of these things in college. Like I think I thought of college as just like purely academic or like sports. I don't know why I never thought like, oh, you could do improv there or any kind of like creative writing class. Like I was like, you're here to learn.
See, I also wasn't there for that. I was
for learning.
Yeah. Well, I was also in this weird program where they like you could design your own major, which is
amazing.
Like not something that you should let a 19-year-old do. They're not qualified to know what that is. And so I just got like kind of a really scattershot education. But I did spend a lot of time with the improv team there. And I think like that was very formative for me comedically, especially because like the people that I met at NYU were like more theater based than like premise sketch based, like I was getting at UCB, and so I had that from UCB, and I think I am also like just a very premise-y thinker in general, so at UCB I got that, but then like much more on the character side and theatrical side through Danger Box, who is my improv team at NYU, and I think like that is sort of what formed me comedically. And those are people like Bowen Yang, who's on SNL now, and
great.
Rachel Bloom was on the sketch team at NYU, who did Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and my friend Spencer, who's like playing like some sort of some vampire or something on the new series of American Horror Story, because he's like a professionally trained clown. So it's like just like a variety of different people. I don't remember what question I'm responding to, but I did have a point. I don't even remember. Have forgotten.
Something about NYU and taking classes there.
Oh yeah, so that is like kind of the kind of what I was focused on. Was like improv, and that's where I was getting kind of the most value and where I saw like the most like potential for a future, I think. Which is like, don't don't stake your future on improv if at all possible. It's my favorite thing to do. It's the most fun thing in the world, but like have more,
that's
something more
such
concrete.
a hilarious assessment, because I did Second City for years, and after I started stand up, I dropped improv because I was like, oh, clearly there's no way to make money from improv unless you're like, I mean, like strictly from improv, unless you're on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
and Dave or Whose Line, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, there's not, I mean, it can lead to other work, but it's just doing purely improv is like, nobody's paying you for that. I'm like, and I would remember like before Key and Peele was on the air, like I would see the two of them do shows for 5 people in the audience and get paid nothing. And I'm like, these guys are fucking brilliant and they're making no money. I have not a shot at making money in improv.
Yeah, it's a bummer because it is my favorite thing to do. And when it's good, it's my favorite thing to watch, but it's just like not... I haven't watched the Middleditch and Schwartz on Netflix yet, so which came out like a year ago. If I care so much about improv, I should probably watch it. But like it just doesn't translate into a scalable format except for Whose Line. So it's like a bummer, but also maybe sometimes it's good to just have something to do because you like it, not because you're trying to like spit it into a career.
Not because you're trying to monetize everything.
Yeah.
It does feel like our generation, like everything we do, we're like, well, how do we squeeze money out of this? And I don't know.
I have finally like weaned myself off of that, because there was all this advice that like young writers and comics get that's like, it's always going to be the thing you least expect, something that you just write for fun. That's going to be the thing that blows up. But all that does is make me look at everything I write and be like, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the thing that like shoots me to fame, and it never is.
Are you that optimistic with everything?
I used to be. I think I'm not anymore. But it was truly until a few years ago, like every single thing I wrote was like, this is probably the most brilliant thing anybody's ever written. And then it was always like, it was always bad. Always. But I had hilarious. Just like wild confidence in myself that I did not deserve.
I love that. I'm like so optimistic still. Even with the million no's I've gotten, there's, sometimes I write something, I'm like, here we go. Here it is. I fucking nailed this. And then you hear nothing and you're like, okay, well, whoops.
I'm looking for a new manager right now, and it's been kind of wild to talk to people. Like I let go of my previous manager. I think he's like a nice guy and probably a good manager for somebody else, but we, like, I just signed with the first person I interviewed with, and I didn't like take my time to find somebody, and so that was on me, and I think we just weren't right for each other. But one of the things that, like, one of the reasons that I was like, I think I need to find somebody else is like, I had sent him a bunch of samples when we started, and then I guess this is the point in the podcast where we can reveal that I recently lost my job. I was they did layoffs at Colbert, and they laid off a bunch of writers, and I was one of them. And when I told him, he was like, okay, well, then we got to get you writing some new samples because none of the ones that you have are going to work. And I was like, that's fine. It's my job as a writer to, like, hear that and write something new. But, like, why couldn't you have told me that a year ago when I sent you all my samples and you could have, like, given me notes and stuff? And now that I'm, like, talking to other managers, it's been interesting to see how many of them, like, respond or don't respond to what I've written, and how they phrase their not responding to what I've written. I have now, like, I now understand my relationship with the writing a little better, and I'm no longer convinced that any one thing is going to be the thing or anything is going to blow anybody away. But also, like, I worked for Colbert for 2 years. I sold an original series to Audible. I've written some stuff that I know is funny. And it's like, very few people are interested. And it's like, what do I have to fucking do, man?
No kidding for you to take a little bit of my money. I'm trying to give you money.
Pay you. And it's like, fine. I have one guy that I'm really excited about who hasn't like officially extended an offer yet, but I think we'll probably get there and we're a good fit, and that's cool. But there's so many people who it was like, why did you take the meeting with me if you don't like me? Why in the midst of this, you win a Peabody and they're like, no, thumbs down. Like, they don't care. It's like, what do I need to do? What is it about me that you don't like? Like, you could already be making money off of me. But it's like, So I am still like confident in everything that I write, but I think I have a better understanding that like I'm not this incomparable genius that that somebody just needs to find under a rock somewhere. So that's been humbling, but probably a good lesson for me to learn.
Yeah, that's really funny. What made you move to LA, by the way? Because you were in New York for 10 years, which officially, I believe, makes you a New Yorker, which is an exciting
Thank you.
milestone to hit.
New York has never really been home. I don't think I ever really thrived there. I think why I did so well is because I went to college there and I like had kind of friends and a support system built in through that. And then I ultimately moved to LA to go to grad school, but really I was like, I kind of just wanted something new, and I was sort of floundering in New York, and I felt I was in that weird position where like people got to know you when you were like just an open mic comic or just a UCB student, and so that's kind of all they ever see you as, even if you get better, just because when someone meets you, like you're in their mind like, oh, you're a a level 201 student. And so then I had to kind of go to LA where I was like immediately treated better because they were judging me on my like now ability level, and then when I went back to New York, then they were like, oh, you're good now because you were in LA and now you're on a TV show, even though it's like, I'm not that much better than I was when I left.
Yeah, you're like the same person.
Yeah. But yeah, short answer is just I moved to LA just for something new, and I went to grad school there, and that turned into nothing.
That is a really baffling phenomenon, by the way, of like being whatever city you start in, it doesn't matter what the city is, but people always see you as an open micer there, or to some degree, or they won't just see you for all that you've accomplished. Like I started in LA, and I feel like when I go to New York, I feel like I level up immediately when I go there, because I'm going there with I'm starting there with a certain amount of skill level, I guess, so people do look at you differently. It's fucking wild. And it's like, even like anything I've accomplished here, people are like, yeah, I mean, whatever, I could leave it.
Yeah, and it's made me aware of like, I try to do it less to other people now, but I also like, I don't book anything, so it doesn't really matter if I think somebody's good or bad because I have absolutely no impact on anybody else's career. But there are definitely people who I remember starting out with and thinking they were not good, and then realizing like, oh, you write for Conan now or whatever. So it's I've tried to like be a little more sympathetic to that.
Yeah, I've found myself at times being like, that person sucks, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know that. I mean, they sucked 15 years ago, but me too. Like what?
Yeah.
Like, because I find myself like just getting caught in that same thought pattern, which is so ridiculous. What did you go to grad school for?
I studied urban planning. I was like, that was when I had like both kind of a comedy crisis of faith, and also like Trump had just been elected. And it was in the midst of me like doing a lot of like work in the climate change space anyway. So I was like, I'm going to go try this new thing and see if it's something that I can do. And I also like had sort of ideas about like, I'd worked for blogs a lot at that point. And I was like, I think there's like, and I still believe there's like a communications issue in like climate and sustainability issues. So I was like, well, maybe I'll try to go into that.
You think we should stop recycling or?
Yeah, I do. I think we should pollute more, dig up more fossil fuels. But I quickly realized like, oh, I think the only thing I can do is television, or like jobs that people don't think of as careers, like retail type stuff. I'm like weirdly good at. But in terms of like big career stuff, I think the only thing I can do is work in Hollywood.
Really? What?
Yeah.
When you were going, that's so funny. I didn't know you were going to school for family planning. Wow, what's happening? My eggs are dying, guys, and it's just a little Freudian slip here. When you were going to grad school, like what pushed you back into television? Like, was there something that happened where you were like?
It wasn't any one specific thing. It's just it wasn't like emotionally fulfilling in the way that I thought it would be. It's like everybody talks about like, if you're feeling depressed, the best thing that you can do is like help other people. And I tried that, and it's like LA.
You're like, not for me.
It didn't work.
I don't want to help
people. To this day, like I volunteer for like a few organizations, and every time I walk away being like, I can't recommend this experience to other people. It doesn't leave me feeling like fulfilled in the way that everybody says it will. But I know intellectually it's good, so I'll keep doing it.
You're like, this leaves me feeling depleted and like I should have done something else with 5 hours of my day.
That is exactly how it feels. But I still, I have like sort of found the least painful ways of volunteering, and I do it that way. Yeah, I thought it would really feel like I was doing some kind of important work, because I was also just coming off of like, I worked for a lot of blogs, and a lot of them were for stuff that like are cool but are not like my subject. So I worked for like a lot of sports websites, and I like basketball, but I don't know jack shit about football or baseball, Yeah. And I worked for an automotive website, which was cool. I got to drive a lot of cool cars, but I don't know anything about cars.
Yeah.
And then I was working for this website called Above Average, which started out as like a very cool sketch comedy website, and then slowly just deteriorated into like very bad branded content.
This was after you came on? Yeah.
It got worse while I was there. I think I've talked about this on another podcast also, but Z-Way also started out there. We worked there at the same time, and that's where she started Baited. And it was like so clear immediately that she like knew what she was doing, was more talented than anybody there, did not need that place, but she was like 23 or whatever at the time. So, she was just like very focused on making her own thing there, which we all should have been. But while I was there, they kept like, the business was so clearly failing, and then they would always blame this guy named Doug who quit. And apparently like Doug was in charge of like ad sales or something. And they were like, well, Doug said that he sold $9 million worth of advertising, and then he quit, and then we found out he was lying and he hadn't sold $9 million, so now we don't have all that money, and this is all Doug's fault. And at one point I realized, like, whose job was it to be watching Doug? Why did you why did you just take Doug's word for $9 million? And so it was like near the end of my time there, they just had no money, so I would come into work and they would be like, just don't do anything today. Just don't do anything. We can't afford to make anything. So all of that felt very like, the word Kafka-esque has been like so overused as to not mean anything, but to like go into your job and be told to not do any, like you'll only get paid if you don't do work, is like, what am I doing? And like in terms of my personal work, like comedy wasn't really going anywhere. I was in like a very bad relationship at the time, so I was like, I guess I'll just up and move across the country, and I will try this whole new thing, and maybe like if I'm helping people, it will make me feel emotionally fulfilled.
Yeah.
But what happens in Los Angeles is like, it is a great place to learn about urban planning, because it is so, like, the city is so mired in issues, and it is so...
Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of good examples of, like, what to or not to do here.
Exactly. But also, as you know, because you live in Los Angeles, it's full of just, like, nightmare people who make the civic process, like, almost not function. And it's, like... It is very disheartening in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I guess we'll just never get better. I guess, I guess we just don't get to make any improvements, because it'll never happen. And so, that was like a big part of it. And then also I was still doing comedy there, and I was starting to get a little more traction doing comedy there. And that was enough of a boost that I was like, okay, this is the direction that I can feel myself going. Yeah. And then, once I'm a rich and famous comedian, then I'll donate a bunch of money to fucking sustainability.
And you just have somebody else volunteer. Yeah. You're like, I will pay you hourly to volunteer.
Yeah.
Please. Dude, I can't.
Just not me anymore.
Yeah. You're like $30 an hour. Do a beach cleanup. At what point, so while you're here or in New York and you're doing improv and starting stand-up and everything, at what point do you start submitting packets to shows? Like, did you know you wanted to write for TV?
Yes. Late night was never really on my radar, other than, like, it's the clearest path. Because anybody can submit packets to stuff. So I had been, like, I was on UCB sketch teams as early as, like, late 2014. So we would get packets and stuff through them, and, like, my friends would forward me packets. So I had been submitting for years. And then in 2016, no, earlier than that, because it would have been before Trump. So 2015, my two of my closest friends, who we were on a UCB team together, and we are still in a group chat together to this day. Within 1 week, one got hired at SNL and the other got hired at Colbert off of just blind packets. Yeah, and then I was the only one in the group chat who had nothing going on. That I think is when I started taking it a little bit more seriously, because both of them were people who, like, they didn't have connections. It wasn't nepotism. It was just, like, off the strength of their packets. So it's like, oh, this can happen to people.
Yeah, I'm dying to know. I'm wondering if the SNL person is the person I'm thinking
I can tell you, it's the Kristen Bartlett.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
She's now the head writer of Full Frontal at Sam B.
So
and Kate Sidley, who's still at Colbert and has been there for. She's the reason I got hired at Colbert, because she forwarded me that packet and put in a recommendation for me. That was pure nepotism.
Get it. Fucking get it. It's also like there's like this, it's like demonized, like, oh, you know, it's who you know. It's like, yeah, don't you want to work with your friends? Yeah. I want to work with my friends.
Absolutely. So, and it's also like, like they knew that I was like responsible because Kate had been on a sketch team with me. So it was like, okay, I showed up and I had ideas every week. So that's part of it. And it also is like, it's not like, it's different. Like if my parents bought me a job on the show, that's different than like recommending your friend for something. But so I'd been submitting packets kind of that whole time. And again, like so wildly confident that the packets I was writing were like the most brilliant packets they'd ever seen. And then I went back and looked up some of them recently. I think it may have even been when you were teaching your class. I think I found an old one and I was like, this is not good. No wonder they didn't hire me. And even the one that got me hired at Colbert, I remember rereading before I sent it to you for your class and being like, this is fine. I remember being very proud of it at the time. And in retrospect, it's like full of typos. And like I would not write those same jokes today probably. But it's, it's important to like learn and grow. So I've been submitting packets kind of the whole time. And like I would have loved to have gotten involved in narrative TV in some way, but like it's so opaque and you just don't know how. I'll
look on the WGA staffing website. I don't know if you look in there, and it's like, oh, these are the shows that are on the horizon, and it's like every single one of them is like staffed, and I'm like,
I've heard that streaming has really changed things because it used to be like, you know, networks would buy a slate of shows or whatever, but now like streaming services don't really announce their shows until they've already staffed the room, and so it's like impossible to find new places to submit to, which is like a fun world for me to find myself with no job in.
I know. I love hearing also from older writers that are like, yeah, the money used to be really crazy. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to know that it's fucking less
I don't think
now.
I'll ever get paid better than I was getting paid when I was at Colbert, because the series orders are so much shorter now. So even if my weekly rate is higher, it won't matter because I'm still going to be making like a third of what I made there. But like, personal network stuff. One of the other reasons that I like parted ways with my previous manager is because one of the things he said to me, when I was like, okay, I just lost my job. I'm actually doing okay emotionally. I didn't want to be in late night forever. So this just kind of moves my timeline up a couple years. I'm ready to hit the ground running. Let's go. He was like, okay, you got to be reaching out to your personal network and especially any showrunners you know. And I was like, yeah, my huge personal network of showrunners that I'd never occurred to me to ask for help before.
Literally, you're the manager.
You're my personal network. You want to know the one showrunner in my life is a guy who I briefly dated and writes for drama. Like, what am I going to do? Call him and be like, hey, give me a job. I don't know how to write your show, and also the dynamic between us is going to be very weird.
Yeah, like, it's going to be a nightmare for everyone involved, but I do need money, so I would appreciate
and you are my personal network, so...
that is wild. That's really wild. I mean, I have... an anecdote I'll share with you off of here, but
yeah, again, I do think this guy is a good manager, just like is not aware of my situation or like what I can and can't do, and is, isn't helpful in this particular circumstance.
Yeah, and it's harder to have, I think, a network of people when you're not doing stand-up constantly.
Yeah,
because it's like that's how I've gotten all my writing jobs, or through other stand-ups. So I'm like, the fact that you're like, oh, this was through my people in my improv group, I'm like, that sounds like magic. I don't know how that happened. That's crazy.
Yeah, and now some of them are like getting hired on more stuff. So I think if I give them 2 more years, they'll be in a position to help me out. But right now they're like also low-level staff writers who are in no position to recommend me for anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like keep my head down and work and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Fortunately, like I'm fine like financially for a while, so I can like work on my own projects and write new samples, and I think my friend and I are going to shoot a pilot, so it'll be fine. But it is like there's no roadmap from here. I just kind of am in free fall, and
just gonna
hopefully
see what
somebody will
happens.
catch me.
Where are you hoping to land?
Los Angeles long term, like narrative TV has always been the goal, but the kind of the only two leads that I have are New York jobs, which is part of why we haven't moved out of Denver yet, is because I don't want to spend several $1,000s to move to Los Angeles and then a couple months later have to spend many more thousands of dollars to move back to New York. So
yeah.
Not that I'm counting on either of these jobs coming through, but for sure, if I move to Los Angeles, one of them will come through, and I have
absolutely.
to move away.
I think that also that's what keeps me in LA, because I'm like, I know there's a lot of late night in New York, and I love doing stand up in New York, but I watched LSLYTNicoleConlan do something similar where she moved out to LA, like got a lease for a car, got an apartment, and then it was like 2 months later or something, she got staffed on The Opposition, and I'm like, what a fucking nightmare. And she just couldn't get out of the lease. And I'm like, just watching her go through that, I was like, I don't want to, nope, I'm going to stay put until somebody needs me somewhere.
When the pandemic happened, I was in Los Angeles visiting Jordan, but I still had, I signed my lease in October in New York, and I didn't go back there. I was like, I'm not going to fly back to the epicenter of the pandemic while it's happening. Yeah. So no, I'm not going to live in that apartment. And I just couldn't get out of my lease. I had to like pay out the ass for that apartment. It's a nightmare. And now, I don't live there anymore. Now I'm in a month-to-month apartment, and I'm paying a little more per month for it, but I'm willing to do that because I can leave whenever I need to. Yeah. And it's going to be very hard to convince me to sign a year-long lease ever again.
Yeah. It's really scary to like be locked in like that. I'm in a month-to-month situation myself right now, and I'm like, oh, what a relief. Yeah.
And but then it means that I can get kicked out at any second, which is scary, but also like then I don't have to pay, 9 remaining months on an apartment I'm not living in.
Dear God. Yeah, that's that makes me want to throw up. Actually, that's a lot. Holy Christ. Yeah. How was your experience with getting hired on Colbert? Because you said your friend recommended you, but obviously you had a good packet.
Thank you. It was fast, is how I would describe it. Because I remember submitting the packet in like June or July of 2019, and it being one of 20 packets that I had submitted that year or whatever. So sort of firing it off into the night, not really thinking about it. Oh, I was on a camping trip. I got the packet like a couple days before I left to go like on an into the woods, no internet camping trip. So I was like, I guess I'll just write this in 2 days then. And so I just like quickly wrote it and sent it before we left. Yeah. And then in September, I got an email that was like, we'd like you to come in for an interview. And then after the interview, I heard back 2 weeks later, and they were like, you need to be here in 10 days. And I was like, okay. So it was like it's a real work for years than overnight success situation where it's like just grinding away doing like bad scripts for so long, and then one day it's like, okay, you're a successful comedy writer now. And then also equally it can be taken away from you as fast.
Yeah it's really tenuous, the whole thing. We picked a really great career. I know. I love it so much. Even the unpredictable part of it, because like it is.
I don't think I could be in a job for life. I think I'd have a very hard time with that. So I would rather be in a career that's like a little bit volatile, but not have to like be doing the same thing next to the same people for 40 years straight.
Yeah, it's also nice to just like be around new groups of people a lot. I feel like it feeds your brain in a different way, where it's like, gosh, can you imagine like working at the same company for 50 years and you've had the same fucking person in the cubicle next to you?
Has only ever had one job in her whole life, because she's a doctor and she just went to medical school.
I'm saying this is the worst thing I've ever heard. Oh my God,
I know. And then I guess she worked in a hospital briefly in Detroit where she went to school like as an intern, but it wasn't her job. And then she like interviewed at the hospital that she still works at. My dad is calling me. He can sense when it's a bad time, and that's the only time he calls me. But so she worked at the same hospital she's worked at for I think she's coming up on 35 years, and it is the only job she's ever had.
Oh my goodness.
And so she is like continually coming to terms with me like changing jobs every so often because she has never had to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't imagine doing that.
This is going to sound so mean, but not like this is not directed at your mom. I think
I'm going to tell her what you said.
Please. I'm going to send this actually to her. But like I think the part of like it feels like almost like a version of claustrophobia. Like when I think of being in the same job forever, it's like you're attached to your coworkers in such a way that it's like you're obligated to go to all their kids' fucking like the christening, and you have to go to every wedding, and it's like it's too much. It's too much. And it's like the obligations to other people that you have, you know, varying degrees of a good relationship with is that makes me panic. Where I'm like, with comedy, you're kind of floating around all the time. So like, if you can't go to somebody's wedding, they're like, oh, okay. And you don't have to tell them like, oh, it's because you're a cunt. You know, like you can just be like.
I do specifically write that in the RSVP card, though. They do not like it.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it is wild. Although then in comedy you have that thing of like, I gotta go to this person's birthday party for networking, which now I have grown out of, and I don't do that anymore. But when I was 24, I was like, this is really important. I gotta go to this birthday party.
It is wild. I had, like, LA is the only city, I think, or maybe probably New York too, where like everybody that has never met you will show up at your birthday. Yeah. You know? And just to see who's there, which is so obnoxious. A friend of mine was just telling me, her friend, Nicole, I don't even know if you're going to believe me, but she said when she first moved to LA, her roommate took her to a networking funeral. Nicole. No! A networking funeral. I was like, she's like, all the people there were nightmares. I'm like, yes, because they're at a networking funeral. No one good is there.
Wild. Was the body there? Were they viewing the body?
I hope so. I really hope so. I hope he was like laid out like one of those like, you know, the naked chicks that do the sushi on their body. I hope it was like that. With like a charcuterie board on his body.
God, just a ton of comics like, you know, he was a really beautiful soul. I'm gonna miss him so much. Also, I've got this new web series out.
If you could take out your phones and like and subscribe to the podcast.
I'm not gonna say who this person is, but there is a comic that I know who's very nice, but like very schmoozy like that, which is probably why they've been so successful.
Mm-hmm. I feel like 100 faces just went in front of my eyes and like my imagination.
But there was another comic who died, and this person posted 7 500-word status updates about like how well they knew each other, and it was all reading in a way that was like, you clearly didn't know each other well. You opened for this person a couple times, and also the person who passed away it wasn't like they were talking about like Patrice O'Neill or something. It was like a very weird brag, and it's the kind of like I don't think people in the real world have to deal with like that weird aspect of comedy.
Yeah, it is. It's so strange. And I wonder sometimes, I'm like, do people, I feel like I'm so self-aware, and I know, like I can tell you truthfully when something is coming from a place of ego or excitement or whatever. And along the same lines, there's somebody whenever a comic dies, there's someone who I check their social media, because every time it doesn't matter if they just passed them in a hall one time, and but it always is a personal story that makes them look good. It's always like, one time I was crushing and they came into the room, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, this is so crazy. Are you serious? Do you hear yourself?
This guy was the nicest guy in the world. I remember when I was feeling bad about my comedy, he told me that I was the funniest person he's ever seen. It's like, we can see what you're doing. Stop it.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing. I'm like, and then I'm like residually embarrassed. I'm like, I don't even want people to know that I know this person. It's like, whoa, I'm going to crawl out of my skin. That being said, I do want my funeral to be a networking event. I do. Yeah. I would like for people to hand out business cards.
I'm going to make everybody at my funeral say a fun fact about themselves. They all have to do that. Your name, where you're from, and a fun fact.
Yeah. And if you're a comic, tell us about a time you crushed.
Yeah. Great. Love it. Perfect.
My funeral will be a comedy competition. It will be an open mic comedy competition.
And the winner gets like the large nachos or something.
Yes, absolutely. Curtis off of my body in the
Curtis Cook has this story about some booker was like really pushing him to like do his comedy contest, and he drove like 3 hours to Lancaster or something like that, and he got second place in this contest where he was like the winner was clearly brought all their friends, and it was like by round of applause, and
it's just got, like a local person
out of it. Yeah. It's this business, man.
Some of the gigs, I you know what, in a way, this sounds fucked. Also, I'm not thankful for COVID. Obviously, that's not. I'm not a psycho, but I'm thankful for some of the fallout that was a direct result, because like one thing was it's been so easy to say no to shit gigs, because I'm like, I can't, I'm not vaccinated, which is a lot. I'm vaccinated, but like there was like this place in this spot like 2 hours south of LA where this guy would book me, and it was like I got to do a longer set, so that was nice, but it's just like crazy MAGA crowd, and I'm like, I am so done doing this. I don't want to do this gig anymore. I don't care if I get to do 30 minutes or whatever. And then he was hitting me up, and I was just like, oh, I don't feel safe with COVID. And then he stopped texting me.
That's great.
Like, how nice.
That's weird. Jordan just did a show in this place called Loveland, Colorado, which is kind of Trump territory. And there was a trans woman on the show who did her set, made no mention of any like politics or anything in her set, aside from like one or two jokes about being trans, which shouldn't be political, but didn't say Trump's name once or anything like that. And then afterwards, this guy came up to her and was like, hey, I just want to tell you, like, I'm a hardcore Trump supporter, but I thought you were really funny. And everybody standing was like, you didn't have to say the Trump thing. You could have just said you thought she was really funny.
So wild.
It's been very weird.
So wild. I'm actually going to redact what I was about to say before I say it, because I was like, well, that sounds like a crazy thing. Someone complimented me recently by beginning with putting down another comic, and I was like,
yikes.
You don't have to do that. I'm not competing with her. That's crazy. That's not. And I'm like, also, our comedy's nothing. It's not similar. So I don't know. I don't even know. This feels so unnecessary in a lot of ways. Now, if somebody said like, man, I like you better than Chris Rock, you know what? I'm going to put that on a little piece of paper and I'm going to frame it. Okay. Like, yeah. Because he is my hero. So like, I'd be like, that's crazy and untrue, but I'm going to keep that for myself, but
but if you just compare me to like another woman who is like about my same level, it's like, that's just rude to both of us.
It's so rude. It's so like, I don't understand why people don't like get when they're like, I don't usually like female comics, but I'm like, I'm going to stop you there, bud.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you right there. This is crazy. What are you talking about? Like,
yeah, I always try to be nice, because it's like, clearly this person means well, but also like, please just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything. It's fine.
Just the door is right there. The exit is actually lit. It's well lit. Are you doing any stand-up in Colorado?
Not really. I'm probably going to start doing some now, because I got nothing but time.
Yeah.
I took over Erica Sparrow's role at Bitches Brew in New York, which was her and Naomi Caravani's show, and Naomi's still doing it. And then it was me and this other comic, Wendy Steiner, kind of took over for Erica when she didn't want to do it anymore. And so we did a few of those on Zoom, and that was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was like really dragging my feet when we started it, and it turned out fine. And then now Zoom life is over. So we stopped doing them online, and I don't live in New York anymore. I have to say, one thing I've noticed during the pandemic is like, I don't really miss stand-up. I miss like performing. I miss like, I would do a sketch show before I would like put together, a new hour. Not that I mean, I would really be scraping the bottom of the barrel of my old jokes to put together an old hour. But like I miss improv, I miss sketch, I miss stand up a little bit less. I think maybe I'll go out and I'll do that first show and I'll really get the spark again. But I don't know if I'm ever going to pursue stand up seriously.
I've heard Colorado is incredible. I mean, I've done a couple gigs in Fort Collins, and I would like to get back to Colorado. But I've heard it's just incredible for comedy.
It's, everybody else loves it for comedy. I personally haven't had that experience. It's not bad. It's just like I haven't found it to be any better than any other city I've been in. But I also I don't do the clubs here, and those are supposed to be great. And I haven't really networked with people here because I'm not really a local comic, but I also am not really an out of town comic, so I can't get on good shows. So my experience has been fine, but everybody else on Earth says it's amazing, and I would trust them before me.
You're like, my network is still that guy, that one showrunner.
Yeah, still just that one guy and my college improv team. So.
That's not going to do a whole lot. And what are you I know you said you wanted to land back in LA, as far as physically where you want to be located. What kind of show would you want to write on?
I mean, in the short term, any of them. Anybody who will pay me, I would love to write for your show. I think in the long term, I I think FX comedies are sort of right in my sweet spot of shows that I like. Baskets is one of my all-time favorite shows. I'm working on a pilot now that I had this idea for it, and I was I don't know if this is good or if it's really navel-gazy and is only just for me. And I mentioned it to my friend who lives here, who does film production. He could probably go to Los Angeles and be pretty successful there, but is I don't like that city, and I like Denver, and I can make corporate videos here for probably the same amount of money and a higher standard of living. So I pitched it to him, and he really liked it. And that was kind of a vote of confidence that I needed after getting laid off. And I think we're gonna maybe try to make it. And that I would say tonally is probably a little bit of maybe a little bit Baskets, a little bit. Do you remember a TV show called Wilfred that was on FX that had Elijah Wood, and it was based on an Australian show?
Dog guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would say tonally it's kind of right in there. So I like things that are a little they're funny and stupid, but also strangely wistful, I would say.
Sure.
But in the meantime, I'm working on kind of a very straight sitcom pilot sample to submit to stuff. I wrote a script over quarantine that is about watching Frasier in quarantine, and I would love to get staffed on the Frasier reboot, but now it sounds like it's not happening. And also, I know when they did the Murphy Brown reboot, they just hired all their old writers and maybe one new person. So I don't think they're gonna come knocking at my door. But that was the only meeting that I've had in the past year was with the production company who's doing Frasier, and I thought it went well, but then my old manager said he wasn't sending me out on any more meetings until I wrote new samples, so I don't know for sure.
What a fucking dream that you wrote on a hit show, or whoever the Frasier writers are, wrote on a hit show, and then I'm sure some of them are probably retired by now, because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then it's surprise, we want to bring you back and pay you,
yeah, probably the same amount of money you were making when the show went off the air.
Again. And it's can they reboot Jim Jeffries' show? Because I'd love to just be brought back, because I was part of the staff. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is wild how much job security TV writers had 20 years ago. And how that now that we're just doing reboots and remakes and sequels and stuff, then they continue to have that job security, but there's there aren't new TV shows that run for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
Or there's a new TV show and it's some terrible thing on Quibi. And it's oh God.
R.I.P. Quibi.
R.I.P. I only saw the clip that everybody was clowning on, the Rachel Brosnahan
Golden Arm
thing.
one? Yeah.
Yes, my God. I probably should watch the full thing just to see what that's all about.
I haven't seen it. I had Quibi. I think I maybe even paid for a month of it, and I did not watch one thing on it.
Did you pay for it on purpose? Was this an intentional purchase?
I think it was one. I think I had just gotten hired at Colbert, and I was like, okay, now that I'm making money, I gotta support my friends. I want more kind of mid-tier comedy jobs, because I feel like a lot of those have disappeared. And how are you gonna get into comedy if there's not those? So I need to financially support this thing that I want to work. I also had a paid subscription to CISO,
God bless
which
you.
was a little bit better than Quibi.
I
but
did
not
get
by
the
much.
CISO one at one point because they had the Monty Python catalog, and I'm like,
they had the Monty Python catalog. They had Jonah Ray's show, which was pretty funny, and they had there was one other one that was very good, and I can't remember, and then like a bunch of middling ones. But I was like, I really want to support the comedy industry, and then I like never watched anything on either. I was like, I'm just gonna watch, Frasier reruns on Hulu. But what question did you ask me? I'm terrible on podcasts because everything I
forget
is so
too because I'm like
myopic
getting sucked into what you said, so I'm just like, ooh, wait, what did I say? Like the fact that I can remember anything from earlier in the conversation.
But, this is all I'm gonna black out after this and not remember any of this. But I like single cam. Like I wouldn't say dramedies. Like I wouldn't want to write on like A Million Little Things or Happy Endings or anything. But I like kind of sad comedies, and I also like very premise heavy things. So like all of Greg Garcia's shows. Like he's the guy who created My Name Is Earl. Yeah. Anything. I'm a very premise-y thinker. And I like kind of high concept shows like The Good Place and stuff, which are much harder to write for and start writing for. So all of the shows that are hard to get jobs on, that's what I would like to write for if possible. Wouldn't it be great if I was like, I want to write for a game show?
I love that you say this having just won a Peabody, because it's like, I would think that's I think most people that write for TV are like, oh, I'd love to win an Emmy one day. No one even thinks of the Peabody because we're like, well, that's out of reach. So I'm not even gonna. We have to. I mean, the show is generously helping us out, paying with our statues. But I found out we have to pay for our own. Like, they don't send you a Peabody award. Peabody sends you an email that's like, would you like to buy your statue? Which that's not how any other awards work. You don't win the Nobel Prize and then they're like, please give us $400. Yeah. I do think for Emmys you have to pay for it.
Really?
I'm almost positive because I feel like my ex was telling me this.
What is? I am in the TV Academy. What are my dues paying for? Like, whatever.
What is going on? Yeah, also, somebody started GoFundMe.
Let's start a GoFundMe to get the TV writers their trophies. They need them. I told my parents, I was like, if you guys want to pay for it, you can keep it at your house. I just don't. I don't have a job, so
that is the best.
But also like having a Peabody Award and writing for Colbert has not impressed a lot of these managers I've been talking to. Which again, why did you take the meeting with me? You could have just sent me an email that's like, I'm not looking for new clients right now. Why did you take the meeting with me? Just the most recent one I talked to, who was like, she thought she was being nice, but she was not nice, was like, yeah, I have a much easier time with clients who've like written for cool shows.
No.
And I was like, okay, I'll try to get staffed on a Black Lady sketch show, but somehow I think they're not going to pick me.
Nicole, I'm going to put my head through the wall. What are you talking about?
It's also, the other thing with these managers is they, like, I have learned how to, it's been nice having meetings with so many bad ones because now I can kind of tell the difference. Like, there's some who have clearly read like the first 2 or 3 chapters of screenwriting books, and then they all say stuff like, you just got to write something totally new and original that they've never seen before. You got to write something that'll stand out from a pile of scripts. You know what every script needs? Conflict. And it's like,
they're like, you should most put recent in a one somebody was like, and you're like, okay.
You got to be reading scripts, which is like, what do you think I'm doing? Do you like
I would love for you to start ending conversations with like, I have a fucking Peabody.
I'm going to do that like next time I go to the dentist. They're going to be like, it doesn't seem like you're flossing. And I'll be like, I didn't have time to floss while I was winning
I would just be holding it while you're getting your teeth cleaned and just hold it close to your chest. Like, I can't leave this.
We won, not to brag, but I also won a WGA award this year. And
That's incredible.
I got it in the mail, and it's heavy. The only other trophies I've ever won are like, 10-year-old karate trophies that are made of plastic. So when I got like a real trophy, I was like, oh, this feels different.
Yeah, you're like, this is
like
a weapon.
I could use this for something. Yeah, it also has sharp edges, so that'll be good if I ever need to defend myself against anything.
That's perfect. Keep it by your bedside just in case. Better than a gun.
Yes.
Better than a gun.
Yes.
I do have one last question for you.
Yes.
Nicole, if your child self could meet you, like 11-year-old Nicole, what do you think she would think of you?
I think she would be like not impressed. I think I'd be like, hey, I wrote for Stephen Colbert and I'm a Peabody winner and I sold this original series to Audible and I'm living in Los Angeles and I have a great dog. I think she'd be impressed by the dog and then everything else would be like, whatever, you're supposed to be a professional snowboarder and president by now. Like, what?
I love that your 11-year-old self is one of these managers. That's what she's doing.
Truly. My 11-year-old self would be like, you know what every good script needs? 2 competing points of view. It's like, thank you for your advice.
She's like, well-rounded characters, and you're like, please go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Get away from
And then
me.
she'd like tell me a bunch of facts about sharks.
Yeah.
Which is like what I was into when I was a kid.
Amazing.
She'd be like, they actually are, they keep replacing teeth throughout their life. And also, you need new samples. These ones don't showcase you. It's like, okay, God.
What's happening? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so great to talk to you. And so great to see you.
I can't wait to be in the same city again and our dogs can run around together.
Yes, please.
Your dog for much longer than my old dog.
Mine just got her space stitches out a couple days ago, so she's ready
that's great.
to go.
Is she able to take off her jacket
Yep,
now?
she's not in her little Steve Jobs uniform anymore. She's just naked.
For listeners at home, Lisa's dog had surgery and she had to wear like a wetsuit basically, so she wouldn't eat her stitches out of her stomach. It was like
black, and it had like what is that called? A mock collar or like a mock turtleneck.
She's wearing a turtleneck.
So funny, and she's a German Shepherd, so she's got 8 pounds of neck or something. Yeah. So it would just be like
my German Shepherd is mostly neck.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I should have named her the neck. I mean, honestly, so good.
We just got her. She gets so hot. I thought she was old because I would throw the ball for her. She couldn't run for very long, but then one time she ran through the sprinklers and when she was all wet, she could run for like 2 hours. So it's not that she's old. She just gets so hot. And I got her like a cooling vest that it looks like a Mork and Mindy costume. It's like silver and you have to soak it in water and there's like all of these straps to like keep it around her body. It's wild, but it does seem to work. So
that sounds
as long
great.
as she doesn't overheat and die.
I might get one of those for myself when I go for runs.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And you're the one that sent me the link to the wetsuit thing.
Yes. Although Kate Sidley of Stephen Colbert fame is the one who found it first. So she deserves all the credit.
So great. So great.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening. Once again, that was Nicole Conlan. You can find her on Twitter at Nicole Conlan and on Instagram at the Nicole Conlan. And I'm Lisa Curry. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa_Curry and on Instagram at Olympian Lisa Curry. As usual, if you're enjoying the show, please like, subscribe, tag it on the side of the freeway, whatever you've got to do to get the word out. And we will see you next week. Bye.